Hey guys, Carl from Moose Plays. This week I'm taking a look at Distilled, a spirited strategy game from designer Dave Beck and publisher Paverson Games. This game is a card-based game in which you're sort of working as a distiller, trying to build up your distillery, collecting a variety of different ingredients, barrels, and bottles to ultimately distill a variety of different international spirits, working of course towards building up the most points at the end of the game. Now, this game has been out for a little while and I am a bit late getting to it, so I'm also including in this video the Africa and Middle East expansion as well. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of both the base game and the expansion for this video, but with that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a solo game of Distilled, begin by building out the market, starting by placing out the basic market board on the play area. Filling in all of the basic ingredients and items with the matching cards. Next, setting up the premium market, I'm going to place out this truck board out here in the play area. You'll see there are 3 different sets of cards here: the distillery upgrades, the ingredients, and the items. I'm going to shuffle each of those 3 decks, placing that deck here, and then placing out 4 cards of each type in each of those rows. Then finally, to finish setting this area up, I'm going to place out the deck of alcohol cards down here as well as shuffling and placing out this deck of flavor cards over here. And with that, the market is all set up. Next, coming over to our player area, beginning by placing out our distillery board, as well as our recipe clipboard like this off to the side. And then you'll notice that the majority of this recipe clipboard is empty, and that's because every time you play the game, you are going to be given the choice to sort of take a recipe clipboard of a different variation or different variety for this gameplay. As I mentioned in the introduction, I will be playing with the Africa and Middle East expansion for this playthrough. And you may have already noticed when I was setting up the market, one of the bottles in the item row did have a little marker for that expansion. But in order to show off the most of that expansion that I can, I'm going to be playing with one of the flights, the tasting flights from that expansion. And I've already played these first 2 quite a bit, so I'm actually going to be playing here with tasting flight K, which means we're going to take out the K flight right now, and then later on, when we pick out our distiller, we're going to be able to pick any of the ones that matches the regions of those alcohols. But I'll show you how that works in just a minute. So first things first, as I said, we are going to be using tasting flight K. So this is tasting flight K. Place that down right there. And in our distillery, we will also be starting with 1 glass bottle, as well as 1 metal barrel. So I'll place the 2 of those in my storeroom, like that. And now I need to figure out who the distiller is that is running my distillery. So as I mentioned, based on the tasting flight we are playing with today, we can choose South Africa, Lebanon, Canada, USA, Scotland, Ireland, Tunisia, UAE, Jamaica, Brazil, Sweden, or Italy. So again, from those, because I do want to show off the Africa and Middle East expansion, I've taken the 4 cards from that area. I'm going to just shuffle them up, choosing 2 of them at random, and then from those 2, I will make a selection. So we're going to draw those 2 at random as that could be. This is Saeed bin Tariq al-Rashid from the UAE, and it says his special ability is during the sell phase, he sells each spirit for 1 coin more for each sugar type included. And he's going to start with 3 money, 1 water. And his signature sugar is a date palm. His signature recipe is palm Jumeirah vodka. Meanwhile, Fatima Mahfoud from Tunisia says once per market phase may reveal the bottom card from any premium market deck. Choose to purchase at a 1 discount or return to the bottom of the deck. I actually just finished playing with her the other day, so I'm going to choose this guy because I haven't actually tried him yet. So let's see how that works out, which means I will also take his signature ingredient, the date palm. I don't have this yet in my ability or in my sort of available pantry. So I'm just going to set this off to the side for right now, and we'll pull it in when I do get access to it. But meanwhile, I've got starting resources, 3 coins, and 1 water. So I'll take 3 coins. I'll put the money on the screen in just a second, but 3 coins like that, and 1 water card from the basic market, placing that into my pantry like that. I also need to find his signature recipe label, the Palm Jumeirah vodka, which I've got right here, and I'll place this down at the bottom of our board like that, just to remind me of that recipe. And then finally, he'll get flipped over so I remember what his ability is, and he goes into the office slot right there. Then finally, to complete the main setup, I'm going to take this shelf board, sticking that up here like that. And on that board, we will place out a round tracker on round 1. Then we're going to fill in all of these slots with the different alcohols that we are playing with in this playthrough. So that's moonshine, vodka, aquavit, cachaça, buca, grappa, whiskey, rum, and arak. And in the solo mode, we're actually going to use all of the labels for all of those different things. So I will place all of those labels right up here. Then finally, I need a score tracker for me. I will use this white score tracker, placing it off to the side here because we haven't scored any points yet, as well as my 50 or 100 point marker should I need it. Also, again, sticking that off to the side. Then sliding in over here as well, I'm going to place in the cubes for marking when we've unlocked our recipes, as well as our money in 10, 1, and 5 valued denominations. And finally, we need to set up the sort of solo area itself, because the solo mode in this game is a fairly unique one and uses a different setup with specific kind of goal cards for the solo game. So we've got A, B, and C goal cards, and I'm going to shuffle each of those different types of goals. And then using those, we're going to construct a pyramid of cards. So let me set these off to the side as I shuffle them so that I have space to put these all in. And we're going to create a sort of double pyramid shape like this with 2 C cards, 3 C cards, 4 B cards, again 3 C cards, and then 2 A cards at the top. Like this, returning all of the A and C cards back to the box, but then actually placing the B cards over on the side next to the premium market, because the B cards are actually going to help us dictate what gets refreshed in the market every turn. Then finally, coming back to that sort of double pyramid that I just finished setting up, rows 1, 3, and 5 should be turned face up like this. We're going to take this solo goal swap card here. I'll explain what that does in a minute, placing that off to the side, available to me. And then I'm going to take one more score tracker. In this case, I'll use this sort of reddish colored one as a marker that shows which level of this pyramid we're currently working on. And I'll explain how all of that works in just a second when I get into how the game plays. And to do that, I should use or show you one more component that is included in the box, and that is this round sequence card that explains how each round works and also then explains how the endgame scoring works, as well as all of the symbology in the game. But first things first, Distilled is going to play out over a series of 7 rounds as marked here. We're going to ignore these sort of cards here printed in the center. That will be used only in the multiplayer game for these sort of multiplayer goals that replaces this solo goal system. But then each of those rounds is going to consist of these different phases. And you'll see here at the first it says start of the round, perform these effects. So some of the cards are going to have effects with that symbol printed on them that will be triggered at the start of each round. But otherwise, the first phase of each round is the market phase. And in the market phase, we're going to, it says take turns, but we're not playing against anyone except ourselves. So we're just going to continue taking as many turns as we'd like to, purchasing a card or a cube. And I can only ever purchase 2 basic markets cards per round. So let me show you what that means. First, while we're here, before we go over to the market, I can always choose to spend 2 coins for a bronze, 4 coins for a silver, or 6 coins for a gold recipe that hasn't already been unlocked. Because in order to distill these different alcohols, I will have needed to learn the recipe already. So I can simply spend 2, 4, or 6 to unlock these 3 bronze, 3 silver, or 1 gold recipes. But then coming back to the market, the main piece of what's happening in this phase is that I can purchase upgrades, ingredients, and items, also including basic ingredients and basic items, by simply paying the cost in the bottom right corner of that card and taking it. Now with the premium market, I can buy as many things as I'd like to. And again, with the basic market as written right here on the board, I can only purchase up to 2 cards from this market. But you will notice that these 2 ingredients, the water and the yeast, as well as this grain sugar, this mixed grains, are free. So I don't have to spend any money. So I can always take up to 2 total of any of those 3 cards, even if I don't have any money. So why am I doing these things? Well, the upgrades, which I'll show you closer in just a minute, will be giving sort of special abilities, special powers, or twisting the rules in specific ways to help me get things done while I'm playing through. The ingredients are what we're going to be using to distill different alcohols or different spirits, and each of those spirits will require a specific type of sugar. And there are 3 different kinds of sugars. There are fruit sugars, plant sugars, and grain sugars, and most of the spirits we will be brewing will require 1 specific type, or often either of 2 specific types. And occasionally, as you'll see in this game with the arak, will require 2 different types mixed together. And then finally, the items are going to be 2 different kinds of things. There will be bottles that will give me extra points and extra money when I use them to sell some of the spirits that I've distilled. And then there will be barrels, and there are 2 types of barrels, wooden barrels and clay barrels, both basic type and premium type. And those are going to be used for specific spirits that require aging before they can be sold. They need a barrel to age inside of our warehouse. So looking more closely at each of these different types of cards, I want to start with the ingredients because that's sort of the basics or the core of this game. Each of these cards has a variety of different pieces of information you can see on them. Again, I already mentioned that this is the cost. This icon here simply shows you which of the 3 types of sugar it is. This one tells me how much money I will make when I sell a spirit containing this card at market. And these down here show me how many points I will receive when I sell that spirit. And you'll see here that these basic cards don't have any money or any points associated with them. They are simply there to help me have the necessary ingredients to distill the spirits I'm trying to distill. Then, looking at the bottles you will see, let me pick one that's a little bit different. This one here from the Africa and Middle East expansion, you'll see again, this is how much I will get if I sell a spirit in this bottle. This is how much it costs to buy. But here it says, when selling, gain 2 points, or if selling an Africa and Middle East spirit means a spirit that matches the region where this bottle comes from, I will gain 4 instead. So sometimes you'll see this question mark in the bottom corner. That tells me that there's some kind of special rule that explains how many points I will get for that thing. And bottles generally work that way. Occasionally, again, scoring you or giving you something special depending on the spirit you've put in that bottle. Now you'll see how barrels work later when we get into the aging process, but every barrel will have one of 2 symbols, either the wood barrel or the clay barrel. And in the case of the basic ones, they don't give you anything else. You just need to have them in order to age a spirit. But say, for example, in the case of this barrel, it would be worth 1 point if I distilled something in that barrel. But also it says when aging for the first time, this barrel allows me to place 1 additional flavor card. And again, I'll explain how the flavor cards work when we get into the aging process. The upgrades are all going to be completely unique. So let me show you what we've got for the 4 that we start with, and then we'll talk about others as they come out during the game. This one says for 6, I can get malting floor equipment that says at the end of the distill phase, I can add one of those flavor cards I showed you to the spirit I distilled. And that's interesting because generally flavor cards only get added when you're aging a spirit, but because this happens at the end of the distill phase, that means I can add flavors to my unaged spirits. Next, we've got the warehouse manager, who's a specialist. It says during the sell phase, you may double the amount of money received from a single flavor card in each aged spirit. That hourglass means aged spirit sold. And I didn't point this out here because there was nothing here, but you'll see at the bottom of this card, many of these upgrades will also give me endgame scoring of some kind. So here, this specialist would score me 1 point for each aged spirit label I have at the end of the game. Here we've got an intern researcher who says once per market phase I can discount 1 recipe cube, that was the bronze, silver, and gold cubes I showed you earlier, by 2. And she scores 1 point for each silver and gold recipe you've unlocked by the end of the game. And then the Cooper, once per market phase, can discount 1 barrel cost by 2, and he scores 1 point for each different barrel type represented in my spirit labels. So putting those all back in the same order. Those are some of the upgrades you will see. Again, I will explain more of them as they come out. The last thing I want to show you here before we move on is yeast and water, because every spirit you distill, and I'll explain this in just a second when we get into the distill phase, but every spirit you distill must include at least 1 yeast and 1 water, or you cannot distill anything. But when we take these, they are free cards. They also give us something special when we take them. Anytime I take a yeast card from the basic market, I can immediately gain 1 coin. And you'll see here it says cannot be traded with the basic market. You'll see later in the distill phase, I'm able to trade cards from my pantry with the basic market. And I'll explain more about that in a minute. But here the water, when I purchase the water, purchase but take for free, I may reveal the top card of any market deck to all players. Purchase it or return it to the bottom of the deck. So that means I get a chance to try and buy one of the things up here if I don't like the things that are out already. So those are all the different things available to me in the market. Flavors and alcohol are not in the market. Those are something that will be added later on, and I'll show you when that happens. But then, at the end of the market phase, I'm going to reveal the next card in this stack. And you'll see based on this diagram down here at the bottom, it will tell me which of the cards in the market I should be getting rid of. And it's worth mentioning also that during the buy phase or the market phase, anytime you purchase a card from a premium market, everything will shift right and new cards will be drawn. So there will always be 4 cards of each available at all times. So then after that market phase and the market phase cleanup, which is what I just showed you using those B cards, we move into the distill phase. And the distill phase says first you may trade once with the base market. Trading with the basic market means I can return anything from my hand in the pantry to the sort of discard area in order to trade it for any 1 card of lesser value from the basic market. And I say lesser value, but actually equal or lesser value, and that includes cards from here. So I could, for example, throw away a barrel in order to take any of these other cards from the basic market. Then coming back to that player aid, it says next we place cards in the washback. We're going to add 1 sugar per card in the sugar slot, and then we will distill. So let's go back to the main board, my player board. And you'll see over here there's an area called the washback. You see yeast, you see sugars, and you see water. In order to distill something during the distill phase, I need to place at least 1 yeast card, at least 1 sugar, and at least 1 water. And then once I've done that, I'm going to count the number of cards I have in this sugar area, and I'm going to add in alcohol cards. 1 alcohol card per sugar in my washback. Once I've done that, I will take all of those cards and I will shuffle those cards, and I'm going to take the top card and the bottom card off of that deck, placing those back into my pantry. And then based on what is left in that stack of cards that hasn't been removed, it's going to dictate which of my spirits I can distill based primarily or pretty much only on the type of sugar and the number of sugars that are left in that stack. Because again, each of these different spirits is going to require a different type and number of sugars to distill. After distilling, there are two types of spirits which I've mentioned before. If you see a metal barrel like this with a cross through the hourglass, those are non-aged. If you see something with either a clay barrel or a wooden barrel with an hourglass, those are aged. In the case of a non-aged spirit, as soon as it is done distilling, I'm going to first put this barrel on that stack of stuff that I've distilled. It's been distilled in that barrel. And in the case of a non-aged spirit, I will then immediately put it into a bottle and I will sell those things. And again, we're going to get all of the money shown in the top left corner of all of the things that are in that spirit. And we'll score any points in the bottom left corner that are of the cards that are in that spirit. However, if it's an aged spirit, we cannot sell immediately because it needs to be aged. So we still will need to take a barrel, not this barrel, of course, because when we're aging, we need to use a wood barrel or a clay barrel. But we'd place that barrel on top of that stack, and then we'd take one of those flavor cards that I showed you before, face down without looking at it, underneath the barrel on top of that stack, and we'd place it in our warehouse. This is what's called the aging phase. And it's important to mention that this is a phase because on the next round, any card that's still in the warehouse, I can either then choose to sell because it's already aged during the sell phase, or continue to age further so that the spirit gets even better and will sell for more money and points in a future round. And if I decide to leave something in my warehouse to age for one more round, I will then add one more flavor card face down into that deck. And that's important because when selling your aged spirits, as you can see down here, you're going to get an additional number of points based on the number of flavor cards that are in that spirit. So 1 gets you 1 point, 2 gets you 3, 3 gets you 6, 4 for 10 points, and 5 flavors would get you 15 points. So the longer you age, the more flavor you have in that aged spirit, the more points it's ultimately going to be worth for you. Then finally, at the end of the round, if I haven't sold anything that round, I can choose to spend points that I've accumulated, up to 4, to change them at a 1-to-1 scale for money. So I could spend up to 4 points to get 4 money at the end of the round that I haven't sold, because sometimes when I'm aging a spirit, I didn't get a chance to sell anything, which means I didn't earn any money, which means then I can't buy anything in the next round, and that would be really tough. So we do a tasting at our distillery in order to make a little bit of money. Then the round marker will move forward 1 round, and we'll start the next round, playing through 7 rounds. And then at the end of the round, we are going to go into final scoring, which you will see right here. First, it says, spirits still in the warehouse. This means any aged spirits that are still in the warehouse, including spirits that were supposed to be aged that I created in round 7 and didn't have an additional round to finish aging. We're going to count the points on the ingredient cards, barrel, and recipe, plus 1 point per flavor. You don't get this special aged spirit flavor bonus. You're only getting 1 point per flavor card instead. And you also don't get any money because you're not selling that spirit. Then, bottle collection. I showed you some of the premium items we can buy are bottles. You're going to score a number of points at the end of the game based on bottles that come from the same region and from different regions. For the bottles of the same region, the more you have, the more points you score. So 2 from the same region gets 2 points, 3 from the same region, 4 points, 4 from the same region, 7 points, and so on. But also you see here at least 1 bottle from 3 different regions will score me 5 points. The Africa and Middle East expansion also adds in another level because now there's a 4th region. If you get all 4 regions, you score 8 points, but you don't also get this 5. Finally, the last bit of scoring comes from the distillery upgrades. I showed you at the bottom of all of those upgrade cards, there are points. Distillery goals don't happen in the solo mode, and then every 5 coins is worth 1 point at the end of the game. But it's not quite it, because in the solo mode, we've got this sort of goal pyramid thing over here off to the side. And this game is not really a beat your own score game because while there is no AI, I am competing or I am playing against this stack of goals, which does 2 things for me in this game. The first thing it's going to do is In order for me to win this game, I need to have successfully completed at least one goal in each row of this structure. In addition, you'll see that some of these goals have red numbers printed on them. These red numbers are scoring point threshold. So for every card that I've completed that has a red number, I'm going to add those numbers together, and that is the total number of points that I need to meet or exceed in order to win the game. So for example, if I went up this right side and did these 5 cards before the end of the game, I would need to score 70 plus 12 or 82 points in order to consider that a win. And the way that this is going to work is, at any time while I'm playing, if I manage to do what it says on that card, I can choose to trigger that card. And I say choose because I don't need to. And also I can always choose to do it later according to the rules that I'm about to explain. And that is, you can only ever score a card that is at the row that you're at or higher. So right now I can do either of these 2 goals. And once I get a goal or complete a goal, I'm going to turn over any cards that are face down that are directly above that card. So if I completed this, I would turn over these 2 cards. If I completed this, I would turn over these 2 cards, and so on. But then once I've turned over those cards, I can then complete the other card in this row or either of those cards above. But as soon as I complete a card above, this moves up to that row, and I can no longer complete any cards below it. So if I want to get more than 1 card on a certain level, I need to do that before moving up. And why is that important? Well, on the B and A rows, I probably don't want to complete more than 1 because that's going to dictate how many points I need to score. And if I do more than 1 of them, that means I need to score more points at the end of the game. But you'll see on the C cards, you're generally going to get money or points for each of those you complete, and having those extra money and points will be a good thing to do. Also, as I'm triggering these goals, I have to always be triggering goals that are connected to goals that I've done before, because obviously I can't do a face down card that hasn't been turned face up that way. But even if I got to here and I did this, I can't then jump over to this card. I have to then go to one of these 2 from that card. Everything must be connected as I move up. Except once per game, I have this solo goal swap card, and it says that I can swap any 2 solo goal cards within the same row. But then if I do, I have to flip this card over, and you'll see then at the end of this game, that means I need to score an additional 5 points for having used that card. So if I really need to, I can swap 2 cards in a row. Say, for example, I'm here, and I want to complete this card. I can swap those 2 cards, placing that one there so I can move up to it. But you'll see more how that plays out as we play through the game. Before I do jump into gameplay, let's go through the goals that I can see right now. So starting here at the bottom, sell a spirit containing no basic sugars, which would mean a moonshine. No basic sugars, which means I can only use premium sugars. Here, sell a spirit worth 8 points or more. Sell a silver tier spirit, that means grappa whiskey or rum, worth 18 points or more. Sell a spirit containing 5 sugars or more. Sell a spirit worth 20 points or more. Collect 3 bottles used for spirits of the matching region. Matching doesn't mean the same region for all 3. It means that whatever spirit is inside the bottle is matching. Then up here, my big goals are collect 2 spirit labels from 3 different regions, or collect 5 spirit labels from regions other than my distiller's region. My distiller's region is Africa. Looking at the board, anything that has a gray sort of building icon on it means it's of the region that my person is from. So those 3 are Africa. This bottom one is Africa. So we've got here Europe, America, Europe, America. There are only 4 potentials that are not from my region. So probably I don't do that one because it's going to be tricky. So for right now, let's aim to collect 2 labels from 3 different regions. That means Africa, Africa, Europe, Europe, and what was my other option? America, America, which is gonna be tricky. Let's see. Yeah, because this Europe requires a clay pot. This Africa requires a wood. This America requires a wood barrel as well. But this doesn't say different spirit labels. It just says 2 spirit labels from 3 different regions. So I could get 2 of the same one. Because looking at his card, and his signature recipe, he doesn't care about aging stuff all that much at all. So far, nothing here is focused on aging. Now, aging things do tend to give me bigger and better things, but remember in the marketplace we saw there's one card there that's going to allow me to put flavors into non-aged spirits, which is going to be really good when we get into that. All right, so let's go have a look at the market board. We have 3 coins to spend. I need to get a yeast for sure, because I already have a water. Then, it's very likely that I'm going to be distilling vodka or moonshine this time. This jar gets me, gets me 2 coins for anything in it, 4 coins if it's got moonshine. The problem is this jar, you can see here, has no region associated. So this doesn't count for my bottle collection because it doesn't come from any region. So it may be a waste of money, but it's good to get stuff early. Now this bottle's 4 points, but it gets me -1, sorry, 4 coins, but gets me a -1. You know what? I'm going to take this mason jar anyway, spending 1 coin, sliding those down like that. Then, I only have 2 coins. There's nothing else that I want to buy. I really want that malting floor, but 6 is huge right now, starting out. So my only option is to take a mixed grain, because I can get a second card from the basic market, and if I don't have a grain at all, I can't even attempt to distill anything. So those come back with me to the board in my pantry, which I'll show you in just a second, but while we're here, let's refresh the market. Sliding this card down, we see Bye-bye Malting Flora and Cooper. Over here, juniper, millet, and barley are gone. And down here, this one, the plastic bottle and the ex-bourbon hogshead barrel go away. Everything slides down like that, refilling. Then, looking at my 2 new guys up here, Black Market Dealer says, during that starting phase, before the market phase, I can discard a card from my pantry for 1 from the truck, means I can pull from the discard area with a cost up to 2 more. And it says count alcohol as 0, so I can even discard a leftover alcohol to buy something for 2 from any discard area. That's pretty awesome for 5. It also gets 3 points if I have 30 coins or more at the end. Then the biochemist says during that same phase, I get a free yeast added to my pantry, and he gets 1 point for each of the specialist upgrades in my board. Last thing I do want to point out here is this neutral spirit alcohol. If you haven't played with the Africa Middle East expansion, that's one of the new additions. It can be used as a water or a yeast in my washback, and when it's in my washback, I can choose to remove only the top card during the distill phase. It's also worth 1 money and 1 point as well. So that's pretty powerful. All right, then coming back to my board for the first distill phase. So in my washback, I will place, sorry, this bottle should be in my storeroom. I'm going to put grains there, I'm going to put yeast there, and I just realized when I took that yeast, I should have gotten 1 coin. So let me take 1 extra coin now. Then placing water there. I only have 1 sugar in there, so I'm going to take 1 alcohol card, placing that as well. Taking those 4 cards, and then shuffling as well as I can. And we're going to take the top card and the bottom card from this and put it back in my pantry. So here's a yeast goes back in my pantry. And here is the grain sugar goes back into my pantry, which means, unfortunately, but also then fortunately, you'll see in a minute, all that's left in there is water and alcohol. There is no grain or no sugar left in there, which means the only thing I can make is moonshine, because moonshine is the only spirit that includes no grains or no sugars at all. So to that, I'm going to add a barrel, because I have to distill it in a barrel. That is non-aged, so we are going to add a bottle, which we just purchased the perfect bottle for a moonshine. the mason jar. And we're going to look at our cards. I've got 1, 2, 3, plus it says, if selling moonshine, gain 4. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the moonshine itself gets 2 and 1, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I do that, I need to take the moonshine label like that. And again, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 2 here for the moonshine itself is 9 coins. So I'll put one back and take a 10. And then no points, no points, no points, no points. I get a single 1 point from that moonshine. So having sold this, this label is going to be placed here in a minute, triggering a special ability. This jar goes into my bottle collection, but as I mentioned, it's not going to score me any points because it's not a regional bottle. The metal barrel and the glass bottle will always go back to my storeroom. I can use that as many times as I want to, and the water and alcohol will go back into the market spaces where they come from. Now, 2 things I need to do. I need to put that somewhere, which I'll explain in just a second, but also maybe a little bit of a loophole, but this gold card C says sell a spirit containing no basic sugars, which means if there are sugars, they should be premium sugars, but in this case, my moonshine contained no sugars at all. And I'd say that no sugars at all means a spirit containing no basic sugars. So I'm going to mark that by placing a coin on it, and that gets me 2 additional coins. Now, unfortunately, my distiller's special ability didn't trigger because it says I get 1 coin for each sugar type included when I sell. There were none, so I didn't get anything from that. Now, this moonshine label gets to be placed in one of these locations to trigger some special ability. All of these have the ability to give me an additional 2 points if I choose that, but otherwise each space has a unique ability. Before I do that though, I should, just now that I've triggered that, flip over these next 2 goals to see what they are. Here I've got sell a spirit containing 1 flavor or more. And this says sell a bronze tier spirit, both of which are doable in the near future. So nothing really pushing me except potentially to age something for that. Then, now I can choose 5 coins. I can move this signature ingredient to my pantry, which I need to use to distill my signature spirit. Now, the signature spirit says here must include palm. It doesn't need to be this palm. It could be a palm from the standard premium market, except that these signature ingredients have the special ability that says during that distill phase when I pull off cards, if this card is pulled off, it goes back in. It can't get pulled out. So that's pretty powerful, and a regular palm wouldn't have that. Here it says I can discard a card from the pantry and take any 1 card from the truck. Here, 1 free ingredient. Here, 1 free recipe. Here, 1 free item. And here is 1 free upgrade. So let's go look for a second. But I might discard a yeast potentially in order to pick up that card that gives me a flavor every time I distill something. Because that's going to help with this. And that's also going to help me get more money moving forward and potentially more points if I'm aging things. Yeah. So let's go look at the other upgrades available to me and the other stuff available to me. Right now I don't have a ton of money, so I kind of want to focus on cheap grains, which is wheat, cheap sugars, which is grain. I do need to, if I was focusing on that same one I was planning on focusing on, collect 2 spirit labels from 3 different regions. I only now have 6 slots left, so the rest of these have to fit that perfectly, otherwise I need to do that one. So focus on non-Africa first, which means aquavit with any grain or plant sugars is super simple. It's also bronze, which could get me that. Let's focus on getting that this turn. Means I don't need anything to age things. I don't see any bottles that help with a European spirit. Wheat's only 3, so I got money for that. This neutral spirit alcohol is cool, but I don't need it yet. Although having it might be worth it while it's still there so it doesn't get thrown away. Then, do I like any of these things? Double money from flavors. Discount recipe cubes. Not really. Discard a card from the pantry to exchange for one with the truck worth 2 more. But then I have to make sure I buy something and don't use it to get that. Add a basic yeast is nice to have, but that's cheap too. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put the moonshine at the discard 1 card from pantry, take any 1 card from the truck, there. Discarding my yeast, back to the basic market, and I'm going to take that malting floor, placing that into one of my distillery slots. And doing so, I should mention, you can only ever have 3 upgrades on your board. But if you do choose to take a new one, you can always get rid of something and replace it with the new one that you've taken. That's the end of the first round. Moving on to round 2. Yeah, and back to the market we go. All right, so back at the market, we've got 14 to spend, but we have no water or yeast, so I have to start with a water and a yeast. Means I get a coin for the yeast, and I can potentially purchase something from the top of any market deck. So let's go put those in our pantry, get my 1 coin, then coming back here, I'm gonna risk this item. Because I'm aiming for aquavit. If I can get a European bottle, that would be really cool. And I don't. This says clay barrel, which I don't like. And it says purchase or return to the bottom of the deck. Yeah, that's going bye-bye. It's sad, but I don't need it. Then I got lots of money to spend. And I know that I'm getting recipe cubes for sure. So I'm going to spend a 4 to take this specialist. Spending 4 coins, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And while I'm here, I'm going to then buy the aquavit. Should cost 2, but she discounts 2, so that's free. Yay. Then I have 1 grain. I need any grain or plant for aquavit. So I'd like to get at least 1 more. 2 would make it perfectly safe that I would do that. If I get a plant and a grain though, I could then potentially use that plant in something else moving forward. So let's see what we got. But back at the market, resetting this. I've still got 11 coins to spend. Ooh, what's this? Wood chipper. During the distill phase, you can use any clay or premium metal barrel as if it was wood. That's cool. Now, 11 to spend. I'd kind of like to buy that just to have it for later. But I think I'm going to spend 7 is big. Hold on. I'm going to buy this wheat for 3. Trading my 10 for 7. Sliding those over. Well, here's another unique piece from the Africa Middle East expansion, and those are double sugars. So this counts as 2 plant sugars for 6. I'd love to have that for the future, but not right now. But I'm scared that it's going to go away. I'm going to have to risk it. I kind of want to buy this bottle just to get it for the future before it goes away. And potentially then I could end up with a European bottle as well. Yeah, this might bite me, but I'm going to buy that bottle for 4. Trading in 5 for a 1. I still have 4 left to spend. Let's see what comes out. Another African Middle Eastern bottle, which I don't need currently. Then let me get another grain. Do I want to spend 4 or 3? I might as well spend the 4. That's worth an extra point and money for 1 more dollar. I can afford it. I'll do that. Spending all 4 of what I've got left is done. These all slide down. This flips over. Ooh, there's a double fruit as well. Now I'm crossing my fingers that this and this doesn't go away, but I think this row always gets wiped. So let's see what happens. Do we save the plants? We do save the plants. I did lose the alcohol, but that's fine. These 2 go away. This one and this one, double fruit goes away. This one, and this one goes away, which is nice because it means I could get more variety of stuff coming out. Refilling all of that. All right, let's look what we got. We got a trucker that lets me purchase 1 card from here at the start of every round. Huge. Also, it says reveal the top card from the ingredients draw deck and gain points equal to money at the end of the game. That's pretty cool. Because that would also mean I can dig in here for stuff like that spirit alcohol. Mixologist says, at the start of a round, add 2 flavor cards under this. When selling, I can replace any flavor with the flavor there. Not great, because I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of that stuff. The other thing I want to point out here is we got some more bottles in this special metal barrel. This bottle is Asia, which stinks because we don't have any Asian spirits this game. This one is from my own home region, so that becomes an Africa bottle. And this one here is a special barrel used for non-aged spirits that says 2 coins and 1 point versus the only 1 coin and no points for my regular metal barrel. And that also says after selling you may return this card to your storeroom. So that one comes back just like your regular one does as well. But that is the end of the market phase, coming back to our player board for distilling. Now, definitely yeast, definitely water, definitely 2 grains. I only need 1 of any grain or plant to brew that or to distill that aquavit. But if I shuffle and happen to pull both of these out, then all I'm left with is moonshine, and I can never win that solo card. And it's getting really hard to get there as well, because that means everything else has to be non-African. I don't like it. I'm going to put this palm in, but I'm going to cross my fingers that it comes out, because if it comes out, we can use that for a bunch of other things later on. But at worst case scenario, that stays in there, and then I get extra points and money, which is also good. So I've got 3 sugars in there now. That means I am going to add in, 3 alcohol cards in there as well, putting all of that together and shuffling very well. Taking the top card off is my water. Taking the bottom card off is one of the mixed grains. Unfortunately, the plants are still in there, but that's okay. So let me find a space to put all this down so you can see what I've got. So we've got a plant and we've got a grain, which means I can distill my aquavit. That's European, so I don't want to use my African bottle yet. I'm gonna just put it in this metal barrel in a regular old glass bottle like that. Now remember, because of my malting floor, I do get 1 flavor. So taking the top flavor card and adding it to my cards. Realistically, the bottle shouldn't be there yet because I'm not selling. This is still part of distilled. We got fruity. This is amazing. A fruity aquavit adds 3 coins. 5-star rating. Yay. Now we are selling with that bottle. So I do take a aquavit label. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 coins. Counting that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 coins. Big money. And we get 1, 2, 3 points, plus the 3 from Kashasa is 6. We go up to 7 points, like that. Unfortunately, that's only 6 points, so I don't get this, but these 2 I did accomplish, so I'm just going to say forget it to that bottom card. Selling bronze tier, which is what aquavit is, selling a spirit containing a flavor card, yes, gets me 3 more points, up to 10 points. Then the glass bottle goes back into my storeroom with the metal barrel. Flavor goes bye-bye, and all of these go back into the market area. And then I get to place this aquavit somewhere. And I think I'm going to use it this time to take an ingredient, because I'm going to take the hydroponic plants double plant sugar, which is amazing. Is it though? Is it though? Because I don't really need anything with more than 1 plant sugar aside from rum. And pulling a card out's not going to hurt. But I do add 2 extra alcohol. It is 2 points, or sorry, 3 points and 2 money. That's nice to have. Otherwise, metal barrel's only 4. Yeah, I might as well. Those all slide down. This flips over. And here is the other kind of special thing out of the Africa Middle East expansion. That is a wild sugar, counts as anything for $3, gets you 1 coin. So it's not a great thing because it doesn't give you any points, but it does give you sort of peace of mind that you will have the thing that you need to have when you need to have it. All right, moving into round 3. Now, I need to decide to brew something. And I now have potentially 2 plants, so I could potentially brew a rum. I was focused on cachaça before, but I do need 2 from every area, which means I could potentially do both of those at some point. I've got 5 more rounds, or 5 more chances to distill something. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that rum. It means I'm gonna need a barrel, and I might get something else to be a little bit more careful with things. I wish that I had that neutral alcohol that lets me only draw 1 thing off. We might get that later, but right now, I might hold on to this for later and try and do a cachaça right now instead. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. I have to anyway later. Let's push rum later. Let's do cachaça this turn. So that's bronze, -2. That's free. I'm going to put that plant sugar away. I will use it later. I need water. I mean, I have water. I need a yeast. So I'm going to take yeast as my first free market. It means I still have 1, but that gets me 1 money. Now let's go shopping and see what else we're going to get. I kind of want this trucker so I can get stuff out of here or out of anywhere. I'm doing cachaça. I wouldn't mind to have this barrel. That's 4 and 4 is 8. I only have 11. That's 9, 10, 11. Then I don't have enough stuff. Well, I'm going to do 3 for potatoes. Trading in my 10 for 7. Those slide over. I think it's worth having that barrel for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm taking that barrel. Next that comes out, ooh, is a European bottle. Oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. I just sold an aquavit that had a plant sugar. I should have 1 more coin from having this ability like that. Yeah. Okay, so I've got 6 left. I could do 3 for a bottle and 3 for a random sugar. But then I don't get the trucker that I was hoping for. What do I have? 6. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to take those 2 for my last 6 coins. It's worth it. Is it though? I don't need that Scandinavian bottle right now because I'm making an American spirit. Yeah, no, I'm putting the bottle back. So I've got 3 coins left. And what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take a yeast from my second card from here just to get an extra coin, which means that those 3 plus that extra coin gets me my trucker. So trucker's my 3rd specialist for now. I have an extra yeast for whatever reason. These slide over, filling in. Ooh, double fruit. What's this? Cooperage. After selling an aged spirit, return the barrel to my storeroom. That's great if I was doing lost of age. I'm not. Then, clearing the market, we lose these 2. We lose these 2. And we, yes, unfortunately, lose that European bottle. Maybe I should have taken it, but I'd rather have the truck lady for right now. Filling back in. Column still and a spirit safe. Let's see, the column still says during the distill phase, remove only the top card. That's cool. Expensive, but cool. Here during the distill phase, may choose to return one of the removed cards back. That's even cooler, but super expensive. Well, there's that neutral alcohol. Maybe I wasted my time with that trucker, but let's see what happens otherwise. Oh, right, no, I can buy from here with the trucker. I can still get that European bottle. Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right, then, back over here for a distill, I've got 1 yeast, 1 water. Don't want grains. I'm saving the plants for later. I definitely want to plant, and I want to be a little bit safer. I'm going to put the glucose syrup in there, which means we get 2 of those. I'm a little bit scared, because if both of those sugars come out, that's like game over for me. Although I don't have any African stuff yet, so it's not the end of the world. First one is an alcohol, yay, we're safe. The other one is the plants. I kind of wish it was the wild, but that's okay. Then we've got 1 of anything, but that is going to be 1 plant. I also get to add a free flavor, which is going to be tobacco. 3 stars, 1 coin. Then this time I'm using my new fancy metal barrel. And that is selling immediately. I don't have any bottles I want to use for America, so simply into my regular old glass barrel. And that's going to be it for me. We are making cachaça, like that. Which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coins. And then 1 plus 4 is 5 points, up to 15. My bottle and my barrel come back to me. Everything else goes away. And now I need to focus a little bit. We've got 4 more rounds. I've got right now 1 American, 1 African, and 1 European. So I've got 1 of each. I need 1 more of each of those 3. So my signature recipe is going to be my other African one. Probably. I think I'm going to do a rum. And then otherwise, I don't know. I need 1 more American, so I could do another cachaça, but likely, oh, that is American. Sorry, then I need 1 more European, which could be an aquavit, but could potentially be a grappa. So maybe that's the aged spirit I'm going to aim for. But rum is aged too, so we got to start working on aged, non-aged, aged, non-aged, potentially, because I need money in betweens. Buca just needs 1 fruit. Not Buca, grappa just needs 1 fruit. Rum needs 2 plants, which we potentially have so long as we don't lose things. Oh, I have 3 plants. Okay. All right, so what am I doing with this? A free recipe, a free item, a free upgrade. Get my signature item. Signature item is 2 plants plus that. But no, I gotta get to aging first. And then 5 coins or 2 points. I'm gonna save that. I'm doing aging right now. So let's take a look at the items. I don't think I want an upgrade because I've got this stuff. So what do we got for items? Nothing all that expensive. I'd love the barrels from in there, but I also need a wood barrel for the rum. Do I give up on rum and just make another cachaça? Maybe. I could do my grappa right now. Focus on fruits instead. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. This fruit is expensive. No. I did a free item, not a free that thing. Grr. Yeah, then you know what? I'm going to take the 5 coins. And that's the start of the round. Then Trucker says I can get something from the truck at the start of the round. So let me look in this one. I'm going to get a clay barrel, I think. What's this? After selling, return it to your storeroom. That's not great. What's this? When selling, earn 1 coin for each flavor. So I would get 1 coin plus 1 coin. It is a point. It's the same cost as a regular barrel. Yeah, I'm going to buy the Dolian barrel for 4 coins. Placing that into my storeroom. Then I need fruit. So I'm spending 6 for sure to get that fruit. And looking in my hand, I have a yeast already, and alcohol can be used as water, so that's fine. But I don't want to be stuck with just 1 fruit. I still have 2 coins to spend. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a yeast and a fruit from here. That's costing me 2. Hold on, I didn't buy grappa yet. We're in trouble. We're in big trouble. Hold on. 2. I only have 2 coins. Grappa is silver, means it cost me 2 coins. Which means I'm going into this with only 1 fruit, and if I fail, that's game over, and that's horrible. Yeah, that's a mistake. Means if I take a yeast that's only 1 coin, there's nothing else I've got that I can afford. Oh, wait a minute. I think I forgot to activate him again. Let me pause and check. Yes, checking the tape, I did forget that, so I do get 1 more, and that saves me right now because I'm taking that yeast to get a coin, spending 2 of those to get a silver, because that's 4 with my discount of 2 for my grappa, and spending the last 2 of those to take a mixed fruit like that. Now we do market cleanup. These 2 go away. These 2 go away. These 3 go away. That slides, those slide, those slide. Flipping. 1, 2. We've got a greenhouse that adds a basic plant to my pantry every time. That might not be bad, but we'll see. Tropical warehouse during the sell phase. This counts as an additional flavor when adding aged spirit flavor bonus. Also, this scores 1 point for every 2 American spirit labels. That would just be 1 point. An anise, and a millet, an Asian bottle, an American bottle, which might be nice to have, and a European bottle. I need lots of bottles, but I don't have any money left. All right, then distilling. And this is where we really need to cross our fingers that things turn out nicely, because I've got a fruit sugar, a yeast, another fruit, an alcohol. And I'm going to throw in an extra yeast this time just to make sure I've got more potential cards that are non-fruits in there for me to pull out. And I get 2 alcohols added in there for those 2 fruits. And we mix everything up and we cross our fingers that if I pull 2 fruits, we are in trouble. Because then I can't do either of those and I basically lose the game. And there's a fruit. But that's not. Thank gosh. All right, then we do have 1 fruit, which is all I need to make a grappa. Yay. Let's go back into my pantry. So I've got a fruit, but I don't think I'm going to use it for anything later. Yeah, no, that fruit's going to be useless for me. But we'll see. We may end up twisting things a little bit there. I could always trade that later to get something else, like a barrel. Yeah, that might be what happens. Okay, then this to there, we need to have a clay barrel. And then we're going to add 1 flavor from my malting floor and another flavor because it's aging. Those go there like that, and that is a grappa. So that grappa is now aging in there, which means I don't sell anything this round, which means I don't have any money this round, which means I am absolutely going to, hold on, let me see something here. That's 1, that's just 1 point. That's only 10 points. This is 18 I need to get up a level. Means I need 3 flavors, so that's gonna have to age twice, at least. But then I still am only at 16. I need to find 2 points from, maybe I can find a bottle that does that. Otherwise, I gotta wait again. In any case, I am gonna do a tasting for 4 points down to 11, which gets me $4, or for coins, whatever we're calling them, like that. We move into round 4. No, that was round 4. We move into round 5. I forgot to move forward last time because clearly 1, 2, 3, 4 distills. All right, then what are we doing with only 4 stuff? I'm in big trouble because I didn't get this stuff either. So realistically, I want to make a rum. I've got the plants to do it. But I need a barrel. But if I do that, I don't get anything else from that either. I have to make an aquavit. And I think I still have I still have a regular grain. So we can do that. We can push to make an aquavit. I already have a yeast. Means I need water. Because we need a second European. That is a second European. Hold on, what do we have left? I've got 3 left. I've got space because I have 1 African, now 2 European, and an American. So I need an American and an African, and I have 1 extra time. So I could make another aquavit. Then I gotta make a rum, and I gotta make his signature. I'm really scared about these. Because if I want to sell that grappa, I need points. I can do that with 2. That gets me 2 points with this bottle. Okay, that's okay. That's 2. This is free. Water is free. I don't need the extra grain, but having the extra grain protects me and makes sure that the aquavit goes through. It's kind of scary, but that's what we got to do. I'm spending 2 coins to buy this European bottle, replacing that. Then I'm taking a water because I have to, and yeah, I'm taking a grain to be safe. I still have 2 coins left. I'm saving them. Okay, that's the end. We clear things up. This one and this one go away. This one and this one and this one go away. This one and this one go away. Sliding down like that. Let's see what we get. I got an architect once per market phase, discounted distillery upgrade by 2, 1 for each distillery upgrade. The spirit still once per distill gain points equal to the money of a card removed from the distilled spirit. And 1 for each region in your spirits. That's pretty cool. Let's see, we got rice, barley, palm. Here I've got a frosted glass bottle and a skull bottle. Okay. Then, coming back to distill. We are making an aquavit, which is our last sort of wasted, we can just have fun turn. Water goes there, yeast goes there, plants there. I'm putting 2 grains in a plant because I need at least 1 of any grains and plants. And if I get 2, then he'll get 2. I'm saving that. I don't need those grapes, which is sad right now, but that, again, yeah, let's do it right now. During this phase, I can trade 1 back. This grapes goes away because I'm not making anything else with fruit for sure. And I'm going to take a barrel from the basic market in its place because it's cheaper for 4. And then I have it for the rum next turn. Then I've got 3 sugars, means 3 alcohol added in there, like that. Those get shuffled together. I'm guaranteed to make an aquavit because I've got 3 sugars and I only need 1, and even if 2 come off, so be it. Good news is if things come off, I can use them for future things, which is nice right now. So we've got mixed grains and an alcohol, which means I do have 2 sugar types here, which is great because when I sell that, he gets 2 coins for that. This is an aquavit. Any grains or plants, I've got 1 of each. Then I will put it in our fancy metal barrel. Then we got to figure out what we're doing for selling. This gets sold immediately. Aquavit is from Europe, so we might as, no. Because that bottle adds 2 points. And we decided before that grappa is 9 plus 1 is 10. And then 3 flavors is 6. 7, 8. That's 18 to get me that. So not right now. Very much not right now. So no, we're using a regular glass bottle for that one. Like that. So that gets sold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus a flavor because of my malting floor, which is smoky. Yay, that's a 2-pointer, or 4 stars, 2 coins. Yay. Then selling that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 coins. That's great. Points, we've got 1, 2, plus Aquavitas 3 is 5, back to 16. Those 2 go back, everything else goes away. Now, I can choose to sell my grappa. Well, hold on, this is gonna have to go up here, but we'll think about that later. I can choose to sell my grappa, but if I sell my grappa right now, I've only got 2 flavors, which isn't gonna let it hit that. So I'm not going to. It's going to age one more time. Means I place one more flavor card under there, like that. So I've got 2 more rounds. I need a rum, or potentially another cachaça, but I'd really like a rum. And I'd like my signature recipe. I could do my signature recipe right now, except what that means then is that, what that means then is that if I do that, I'm in trouble because then the rum doesn't age and I can't sell it. So I want to aim for the rum this time. This is going to be my last round thing. So I don't need my signature ingredient yet. I will, but not yet. A free recipe, a free item, or a free upgrade. The recipe only cost me 2. So an item or an upgrade is better. I already have a barrel. Don't really need a bottle. I think an upgrade might be the answer. Let's see what we got. During the distill, where's that one? The one I really wanted is gone, but I like this. During the distill phase, remove only the top card. Must declare if using it. I'm gonna have to say goodbye to the trucker. But that's okay. I'd rather have that. That's there. Those slide down. That gets filled in. With the metal rick house. When aging a spirit, add an additional flavor card if it's the first time it's aged. So be it. Because now I only removed the top card, which means this plant sugar will automatically get me the rum if I can get 1 more sugar to be safe. Not really. I need 2 to be safe, but it cuts my chances in half, which is good. I've got 13 to spend. First off, I need to spend 2 for sure to get the recipe for rum. So I've got 11. I've already got a barrel. I've already got water or yeast, so I'm going to take a yeast as my first thing because that gets me 1 more coin. So 12 to spend. Again, I've already got the wooden barrel here. So I don't need a barrel anymore. There's no bottles that I want. Plants would be nice to have. If I can get 2 more plants, that's good, because even if it gets pulled off, he can use it for his signature recipe next round. So plants are not bad. So 3 and 4 is 7. 7 is nice. Yeah. So spending a 10, taking 3, 1, 2, 3, gets me the anise and the palm. Those slide down, flipping 2 more, like that. Going there. Still a 5 to spend. There's not a bottle that I love, but at least the skull bottle gets me 2 coins and 4 points. And it counts as an African bottle, which is good for me. I think maybe so. Yeah, I'm doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets me the skull bottle. I'll make a skull bottled rum. That seems to make sense. Okay, that item comes out. A pig bottle, but bye-bye something. These 2 go away. These 3 go away, which is fine because I don't need grain anymore. These 2 go away. Sliding down everything, filling in. I don't think I'm going to use any more upgrades, but let's see what we got. Hipster Distiller. At the start of a round, may move one recipe cube from one clipboard recipe to a different recipe on the same or lower tier. That's kind of cool. Distillery manager, during the distill phase, may count one sugar card in the spirit stack as any sugar type. Huh. That's cool if I wanted to throw in extra stuff. Plant sugar, grain sugar, and this special water. If removed from the spirit stack during the distill phase, you get to add a basic water to the spirit you just distilled. All right, then we've got another barrel, another 2 wood barrels, but I'm done with wood barrels. All right, let's distill. I need lots of green stuff, so we're gonna put these 3 in there, and we're only pulling 1 card out, means we're guaranteed, remove only the top card, we're guaranteed to make rum. That goes there, 3 alcohols. 1, 2, 3 alcohols go in there. Those all get shuffled up. Let's make some yummy rum. And we're only taking the top card, which is a plant, which is great because that can be used for the vodka as well. Putting all of this stuff out. I do have 1, 2, 3 plants. I only needed 2. We do need a wooden barrel to distill this. I get 1 flavor from the malting floor and another flavor from aging because this one has to get aged. I'm sort of jumping ahead because I should sell before aging, but that's okay. I don't need a bottle. I need a barrel like that. Those go bye-bye into my storehouse with a rum label. Meanwhile, backwards in time just a tad, I am going to sell my grappa, which we now flip over those 3 flavors. I've got a honey old cellar bready grappa. Good, bad, I don't know, but doesn't sound wonderful. And to that grappa, we are going to place out my European bottle, like that. And what that means is, first, 1 type of sugar in there is the fruit, so we will get 1 extra coin. What does this say? 1 coin for each flavor is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 coins, like that. Plus, I get 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus my flavor bonus 3 gets me 6 is 16. And this barrel says, when selling a European spirit, gain 2. Grappa is European, so that makes 18, which gets me that card, like that. I get 18 points is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 34, like that. Things clean up. This joins my bottle collection. Clay barrel goes away. Everything else goes away. And now that grappa, definitely that label is going to get me my signature ingredient added to my pantry for sure. Because we don't have the ability to age anything else. That rum has a bottle already, the skeleton or the skull bottle. The Palm Jumeirah vodka already has my beaded bottle, so we're good with bottles. Yes. Got 12 to spend. I don't need to buy anything because this is already unlocked. Now she does get 1 point for each silver and gold unlocked. So I could unlock whiskey just to get a point if I have extra money, but let's see what happens. This one I got, so this flips over. Collect a silver tier spirit label. Yeah, I've already got 2 silver tier spirit labels, so that's automatically completed. So I get a point and a coin. Like that. So we are on track for this. I haven't been moving that. That should be there now, so I can't do anything below it, but that's fine. 2 spirit labels from 3 different regions. Right now I've got Europe, Europe, Europe. I've got America, America, and I've got Africa. If I get this vodka, which all hoping, everything involved in there, or every hope right now is pushing. If I get 1 more plant and I'm only drawing 1 off, I'm automatically winning. The only thing I could do is if I only used these two and I drew this one, then I'd not be able to do it. So I have to get a plant for sure. Otherwise, everything else is going to get me things that make things better. So let's go back to the market. I've got 13 to spend. I absolutely buy agave for 5 gold, 5 money. Those slide down. This flips over. I've got 8 left to spend. And I think I'm going crazy just because I don't have anything else to focus on. I'm spending 2, as I said before, to get the recipe for whiskey just because it gives me a point from the researcher, and I'm spending my last 6 to take this double plants because if they stay in there, then I get extra stuff. Flipping a card. I also get 2. Take 2 things for free from down here or 2 things from down there. Looking at my hand, I need both yeast and water because I don't have them, so I'll take 1 yeast, 1 water, which gets me 1 coin for the yeast. I'm done in the market, and I realize I haven't been moving this barrel at all. It's now around 7. We can count that for sure here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're clearing 7. It doesn't really matter right now because we're not playing any more rounds, but let's go ahead and do it. So you can see a few more cards just to see what else is in the decks. This one and this one. They slide down, they slide down, they slide down. Turning over orchard. Start of every round, add a basic fruit to my pantry. Glassworks, once per market phase, discount a bottle by 2. Some anise and ancient grains. There's a double grain. American Standard Barrel and the Kvevri Barrel. All right, then entering our final distilling phase. We've got a yeast, we've got a water. I've got a bunch of plant sugars. Those grains don't go in there because that ruins everything. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just realized I think I did this wrong before, so that's fine. But these double plants, which I have now just one of, gets double alcohol as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alcohol added there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alcohol mixed in there. There's no way I fail this. So now we just got to cross our fingers that I score enough points by all of the stuff I have here, which may or may not happen. We haven't been scoring a ton of points in game, but I'm going to cross my fingers that something happens for us. We're only drawing the top card, which is an alcohol. Yay. Then I've got a whole lot of stuff here. I've got certainly enough things. I've got my specialty ingredient, so that is good. Got lots of other stuff happening here. I do get 1 flavor from my malting floor, which is cardboard. Yuck. But it still gets me a point. Or a coin, sorry. Then, this is the vodka, which is non-aged and is from Africa. So we're going to use my special barrel and my African bottle. I do have 1 type of sugar, so get 1 coin from his ability. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, plus 2 from the actual recipe, 20, 21. Let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 coins. 10, 21, like that. Points. I get 4 if this is Africa, Middle East. It is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 and 8 is 24. Let me try that again. 8 and 4 is 12. And 3 is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 24 points. So 45, 55, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Putting my 50 there, so I know that I've crossed the 50. This bottle goes into my collection. This barrel comes back. I don't need it. All of this goes away. And then I place that label wherever I'd like to. I don't need recipes or items right now. I will take the 2 points, 1, 2. Now we sell our rum. Flipping over my flavors, I've got chocolate and melon, both of which give me lots of money, so that's cool. Let's spread all this out and see what we get. This one's not as exciting as the other, but whatever. We got a bottle, which is that cool skull bottle from before. This does have one type of sugar, so we get 1 coin from him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let me do that again. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 1 is 16. So that's a 10 and a 5 and a 1 like that. Then points. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 2 flavors, which gets me another 3 points. So let's start that way again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4 is 12. Plus the rum itself is 11, so 11 and 12 is 23. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, like that. Bottle goes into my collection. Barrel goes away. Everything else goes away. Like that. We are done with all of our stuff. The rum goes there for 2 more points. 1, 2 to 36. Then again, remembering our endgame scoring. Spirit still in the warehouse, we have nothing. Bottle collection. The moonshine jar doesn't count, a mason jar. But I've got 1 European and I've got 2 African because my home region is African. So 2 regions doesn't get me anything, but 2 African does get me 2 points. 1, 2 like that. And then distillery upgrades. This one gets me nothing. This is 1 for each silver and gold is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 like that. This one simply gets me 1 point. Then money. There's no distillery goals. Money at 5 to 1. These 3 count nothing, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. We have definitely collected 2 spirit labels from 3 regions. I've got America, America, Europe, 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 and Africa, Africa. Means we have completed that. 70 and 12 is 82 points that I need to win. And looking here, 50 plus 49 means I have finished with a score of 99 points, which absolutely clears the threshold of 82 for a win. Great game. I hope I didn't make any horrible errors that make that score not meaningful anymore. I don't think I did. So let me, while I'm here, take a look at the components. You see everything on both of the screens right now. Looking here first, I love the way everything looks. We've got all of the different artwork. I love all of the illustrations in this, all of the ingredients, all of the bottles, all of the different kinds of people. I love the different looks of all of the labels for each of the spirits. This shelf, this board is really big and kind of useless, but it looks really cool. So as long as you've got space, I like the way that you're sort of going through a shelf of spirits. Also displaying all the labels on the shelf. Round tracker here. It works very well, but again, it's ridiculously large for a scoreboard. Fine with me. The cubes here are nice. The metallic cubes have a little bit of a shine to them, which is cool. The coins, 1, 5, and 10, very clearly different sizes, different colors, different designs. Very easy to see which one's which at a quick glance. The quality of all of the cards and tiles, the cards definitely do have a nice linen finish to them. I do love how in this recipe board, the sort of flight slides in every time or slots into this board and stays in there really nicely. It means you have a nice variability of this board every time. The cubes all fit into this recessed spot on this board, which works very nicely as well. All of this looks really good. These score markers are very, very nice, chunky wooden components. Let me show you the other 3 that come with the game. There's yellow, green, and blue looking like this. They all sort of represent different kinds of stills at the distillery. Love, love, love the way they look. Coming back to the main board, which has gotten a little bit messy now, but still, again, you can see here on display the wide variety of artwork in this game. I love the way it looks. I love the way it's hidden now because I made a mess, but I love how the discard pile is a truck that's sort of carting everything away. Kind of silly, kind of unnecessary, but it looks cool. Thematically, it works well, and it does make it clear what the discard pile is versus where the market cards are. I love all of the different flavors in this game, how you can get disgusting things like cardboard, but otherwise, you know, melon or chocolate or smoky or tobacco, all real flavors. There's just so many of them, and there's lots of more gross ones here. Wet dog. Doesn't hurt you at all, but it doesn't score anything for you. Oaky manure. Yeah, gross. Caramel, ginger, horse blanket. Yum. Vanilla, seaweed. There's tons and tons of different flavors with cool sketches that go with all of them. I just love the way that this game works, the way that this game feels. Now, as far as the insert goes, let me do my best to show you how everything works, because this game, again, masterclass insert here. First things first, you already see on screen over here, the coins go into this bucket like this. Super easy cleanup, super easy, use while you're playing, and that's got a nice lid with the sort of barrel with the D from the logo. Again, all of the different recipe cubes go right in there, again with a nice lid that clicks on top of that. I'm not going to try and put everything back in on screen for you because it will take forever, but here is another cool insert. Here are some more of the different labels you haven't seen: gin, shochu, soju, akpateshi, brandy, baijiu, pisco, lambana, grog, tequila. Super cool label designs. All of here is where we slot in all of the different signature recipes. All of the player pieces fit very nicely into these slots like that. Everything's shaped perfectly. Again, I'm not going to put everything back, but all of the recipe labels that I used go in there. And that also has a nice sort of barrel looking, I don't know how much glare you're getting, barrel looking lid that clicks onto that as well, holding everything really nicely in place. In the bottom of the box, we've got a bunch of card dividers that sort of fit everything. The solo cards go in here. All of the different things, you've sort of got a space for the premium upgrades, the premium ingredients, the premium items. These sort of main cards, the basic stuff, splits into two slots like this. You've got a space for all of the character and their special cards as well. All of the flights you see here with the player aids all fit into that like this really nicely as well. Everything stays in. Everything's got its own place. Also, alcohol and the flavor cards are the other last two spots here. Starting items can fit in there. And then on top of that, this board goes, you can place it either way. It might get scratched up a little bit. I think it did come with a piece of paper to protect it. But if I put that in there, you can see there's a little bit of a lip there and a lip here that holds that really nicely in there. And then on top of that, the trays go in. So that one goes there. These two both slot in like that. And on top of that is another really cool vacuform tray that sits on top. And in there, you can see is already the Spirit Awards and stuff that you only use in the multiplayer game. The barrel round tracker fits in right there like that. Then inside here, all of these boards fit in. Let me fill in the hole just so it fits in perfectly like that. You can see, making a mess on the main screen, this then slots in. Well, first off, this was the basic market, folds up and slots in on top of that, held in really nicely. Same thing, cleaning up quickly on the other screen that you don't see. The truck board also folds in half and fits into this little recessed area perfectly. And then, making a mess right here, all of the player boards slot in right there like that really nicely. Then with the book on top, everything fits pretty much flush to the top of the box. Everything held together, nothing's moving, nothing's coming out. This is masterclass insert. I love the box design of this game. Everything has a place. Everything's place is clearly understandable because everything is shaped perfectly to match the things that go in there. Super thumbs up from me on the box and insert design for this one. That's basically all I have to say about the components. Maybe back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. This game is a bit of an interesting one for me because traditionally, and while this may have changed over the years, traditionally I've not been a huge fan of strictly card-based games. And yeah, granted, this game does have a board. It does have some physical components to it, but realistically the game exists as a card game. Everything you do in this game is manipulating cards and moving cards and buying cards and spending cards and so on. And I didn't really have any interest in this game moving into this. I had heard about the game, I had seen it, and thematically I was somewhat interested. I tend to be more of a sort of beer fan, a craft beer fan, and a beer theme would have gotten me immediately. A distilled spirits kind of theme, while it's not really a world that I'm interested in, it's adjacent enough that I was somewhat curious about the theme and about this whole idea of learning about distilling spirits and the different kinds of ingredients that are used and so on. So thematically it was somewhat interesting to me. But at its core, it was a card game. And it didn't look all that special to me at first. Now granted, I didn't look that deep into it. But then it started to get a whole lot of buzz. And it started to get a whole lot of buzz, not just as a game, but as a solo game as well. And a lot of people that I respected were saying really, really good things about this game. So when I did get the opportunity to get a review copy of this game, I decided, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to check this game out. It's getting a lot of buzz. Let me put sort of my biases aside as far as card games go and dig in and see what this game is like. And let me tell you, boy, am I glad that I did, because this game is really, really good. Really, really fun. And you know what? Maybe I enjoy card games now more than I thought I did, because this is probably not the first time I'm saying I didn't like card games, but this card game was fun. Anyway, Distilled. Let me get into exactly what it is that I enjoy about this game. First off, thematically, as I was mentioning. Granted, this is not a brewing beer game. This is a distilling spirits game, but it's the same kind of idea that you're running a company that's creating these alcohols based on different kinds of recipes. And scientifically and thematically, this game is really interesting because it really does work. That every spirit requires water and yeast to make the spirit. Then, of course, you need the sugar, that the yeast eats the sugar, creates the carbon dioxide and alcohol, that the alcohol makes the spirit be a spirit and not just juice, right? There's quite a bit of thought going into the process of this game and how everything works together and how the more sugars you add into your mash at the beginning, your collection of cards during each distill phase, the more alcohol gets added in because, well, the sugar's being converted into alcohol by the yeast. And it really did make a whole lot of thematic and scientific sense. And the theme started getting me more and more as I played, because now as I'm playing more and more of this game, I'm really starting to get into the theme and hearing about new spirits that I'd never heard about before, and learning that, you know, these spirits use fruit, these spirits use some kind of plant ingredient, these spirits use some kind of grain ingredient, and learning about different kinds of alcohols that I'd never heard of before. And it was really interesting to me thematically. But then mechanically, I'm also really enjoying this game. There's quite a bit going on here. At its core, it's fairly simple. There's 3 different types of cards. There's the equipment cards that are basically upgrading your distillery or getting you new employees that give you some kind of special ability that help you do things differently in the game. And then there's the ingredients that you're using to make your spirits, and there's the bottles and barrels that you're using to either distill your spirits in or sell your distilled spirits in. And that's basically it. So you need to buy the right ingredients to make the right spirits, distilling them in the right barrel, selling them in better bottles to make more money and get more sort of popularity or fame or points in this case. And then also upgrading your distillery so you're more efficient at the things that you're trying to do, or you have more abilities to do things. And ultimately, of course, scoring the most points. But those most points are coming from this thematic idea of growing your distillery's popularity and then making lots of money by selling off the stuff that you're selling at your distillery. And it really is a fun mechanism because with such a small sort of space of the kinds of cards you're using and the things that the cards are doing, there's quite a lot of game going on here. This idea that once I've got the ingredients that I need to make the spirit I'm making, I then have to put them into my mash, which in this game means I take all of those cards, adding alcohol for every sugar that I've got in there, shuffling them together, and then I pull off the top and bottom cards of that stack. Now, this is something else thematically that actually does relate to the distilling process, something like the angel share and the devil share. I'm sorry I don't have a lot of information on that piece of the distilling process, but thematically, as far as I understand, it does tie in to real world distilling. But in any case, I'm pulling off 2 cards at random from that stack of cards. And then once I'm done, it doesn't matter about the water and the yeast anymore because I've created the thing. But if I don't have the proper grains in that mix, means that whatever I made didn't actually use that proper sugar, sorry, not grain, sugar, then I can't distill the spirit I was trying to make. And it may end up not being what I want it to be, and it might just end up being vodka or moonshine or something not so great that I can still sell, that I can still get money from, that I can still use the money to upgrade and hopefully in the future do better. But it's very interesting to me that I'm mixing a bunch of stuff together, removing 2 cards. So there's a bit of a push your luck element here because you're really hoping the things that you need come out after you pull those 2 cards off. But it's also interesting that depending on what's left, you create different things. Now, granted, if you want to create the different things, you have to have the recipe for the thing that you're creating. So that's another piece here, is that I need to have money to actually buy the recipes that I want to actually then distill later on. But interestingly enough, then I pull off those cards, and whatever I'm left with dictates which spirits I can make. But also the things that are pulled off aren't thrown away. They get put back into my pantry that I can use them again in the future, which is great now. Because now as I'm planning, it's not such a big deal to push my luck because things that are coming out will then be usable in the future. But the push your luck aspect is interesting as well in the market phase when you're shopping, buying those ingredients. Because sometimes I think, well, there's some really cool stuff out there as far as equipment or people or bottles or barrels that I really want to spend my money on. But do I have enough sugar cards to make the thing that I want to make? If I don't pull that sugar card out of the stack, well, then I'm great. But if I do, then I'm in trouble. But then do I spend more money to have enough sugar cards to make sure that even if I pull 2 of them out, I still have the thing that I need in there to make the thing that I'm making? And depending on what I'm doing, sometimes the answer is yes, I need to buy as much stuff because I need to guarantee this happens or big problems are going to happen later on. But sometimes I say, well, let's take the risk because if I don't get this thing, then maybe I can make this other thing instead. And by not spending money on that extra sugar, I could have then spent money on something else that's going to help me in some other way. So this balance of what to do, how to spend my money, which resources I need, which resources I can push my luck on having or not having, and watching this sort of play out turn to turn, but then also long term over the game. Because as I'm doing things, I'm making more money. And as I make more money, I can make better spirits. And as I make better spirits, I'm getting more points or more money. And then there's this whole idea of aged versus non-aged. Some of the spirits that I'm making need to be aged, which means I can't sell them as soon as I make them, which means I'm not getting very much points or more importantly, I'm not getting money on a specific round. But it does mean in the future when that aged spirit is done and I sell it, I'm going to get more and more and more money depending on how long that spirit is aged. So then I have to think about, do I need the money now? Can I hold off for longer so that I have a lot of money later on, but also lots of points later on? Or should I sell it a little bit earlier? I won't get as many points and I won't get as much money, but I will have that stuff sooner so I can build up and do better in the future. This timing aspect is also a very, very interesting one in the game. And then again, that equipment, that upgrades row that gets you the equipment and the people who work in your distillery give you really unique abilities. Sometimes they give you more money. Sometimes they give you more ingredients. Sometimes they cheapen the way that things works. Sometimes I pull less things out of my stack when I'm distilling something. Sometimes I add in extra flavor. Sometimes there's so many different kind of abilities and rules that are twisted and broken by those upgrades in really interesting and different ways that it really means that every time I'm playing this game, I think about things and I do things in a different way than I have before because of the things I have available to me, which means my distillery is unique every time I play this game. Not just based on what I'm making, but how I'm physically doing the things that I'm doing to make those things. But then that's not the only variability, because there's also a variety of different recipe cards. So every time I'm playing the game, I can play with a different mixture of ingredients, or not ingredients, but a different mixture of spirits that I can make using those ingredients. There's also the sort of master distiller at the distillery, your sort of player, your variable player power. Every time you play the game, you play with a different character that gives you a different ability and a different sort of personalized spirit that only that person can make. That twists things up again, making you think about things in a different way and come at things in a different way. But then also every time I distill something, I get a label, and I'm placing that label out on my board to get some kind of bonus. A free upgrade, a free ingredient, a free item of some kind, extra money, extra points, my personal ingredient for free. I mean, there's so many different things you can do, and it's only 7 rounds, and you've got to get stuff done. But the order that you get it done is sort of kind of up to you, except that you kind of have to constantly be working to do better and better and better and better. So at its core, this game is very simple. Get some ingredients, shuffle them up, take some off, see what you get, sell it, or age it and then sell it. But the timing of everything, the order of everything, the amount of pushing your luck each time, the different kinds of spirits, aged or not aged, country or same country or different countries, how the bottles tie together, because you score points based on your bottle collection. If you got a lot from one country or a wide variety of bottles, you're scoring more points. So there's a whole lot of stuff that you can focus moving through this game that really does make for a very exciting experience in such a sort of simple, at heart, simple mechanism or simple style of game. And it really plays a lot more complicated, or at least a lot more strategic and tactical than it looks like based on a stack of cards on the table. So that's the core game, and I love the core game, and I love the core mechanisms here. There's a couple more things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the solo mode, but also I should talk about the Africa and Middle East expansion, since I did include that in this video. Focused on the solo mode first. I've said that I've loved this game as much as I did as a game. But the solo mode in this game brings things up even one more level. I think I may enjoy this game more solo than I do multiplayer. Now, I definitely enjoy this game a lot multiplayer. I've been playing a whole lot on BGA recently. If you'd like to play, leave a comment below and I'll play with you. But solo mode here, this isn't playing against an AI. There's no AI in this game, which is great, because sometimes running an AI takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of work, and this is a very quick, smooth kind of churning along kind of game. And an AI here might slow things down, might gum things up, and it may not be smart enough to make the decisions it needs to make. But most of the time when you see a game that doesn't have an AI system, it tends to mean that it's a beat your own score. Sometimes they give you a score threshold. If you do this, you win, and if you don't, you fail. But this isn't even beat your own score. And I'm not a huge fan of beat your own score, because I want some kind of challenge to say that I won or I didn't win the game. No, instead what's done here is very often what I love the most in solo games, is goals. Give me a series of goals that I need to achieve, and if I've achieved them, I win, and if I don't, then I lose. And if it was just goals, that would be great, and I'd be happy with the solo mode, because that's great. But this is sort of a level up on that. I've never seen a goal system done like this before, in a way that you've got this sort of weird double pyramid of goals. And every time you achieve a goal, it unlocks the goal sort of adjacent to it diagonally, because everything's a diagonal pattern. Unlocks the goals adjacent to it. So basically every time you do one, unless you're running up the sides, you're unlocking 2 other things that you can do. And some of these goals along the way are going to score you a little bit of points here, a little bit of money there. But then occasionally the B row, the center row, and then the top row, the A row, is actually setting a score threshold as well. So you're required through this game to hit at least one goal on each level. But then also, depending on which goal you hit on the B level and which goal you hit on the A level, it's giving you a sort of score threshold that you also have to beat in order to win the game. So it's not just about goals, but it's also not just about beating that score threshold. You've got to do both. But the score threshold that you need to beat is not a set value. It's going to depend on the things you've done in game, which is good, because in a game like this that is so variable, if you set a flat score threshold, depending on the things that come out in the game, it may be easier or harder to hit that score threshold. But since that threshold is tied to goals in the game, then the things that are sort of going to make you more money as you go, or more points as you're aiming for those goals, should have a higher threshold. And the things that earn you less points or might be easier to do should get you a lower score threshold. So the game itself is already balancing itself depending on the goals that you're challenging at any given game. But on top of that, the goal system here is cool because I need to have completed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in the game. But it's not a set 5 goals. There are a variety of different goals. I've got 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. And 2 again? No, that's it. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. So what's that? 2 and 3 is 5, and 5 and 4 is 14 goals that I have to complete 5 of. At least 5 of. But what's cool about that is, often in a goal system, if I can't do something mid-game or early game, then that's it. And there's no reason for me to keep playing the game. But for this one, because of all of these splitting paths and all of these different options, if I'm starting to work towards one thing and realize I'm never going to do that next goal, well, then I can head back the other way. And if I am stuck, I can even use that card. It's going to give me a 5-point threshold raise at the end of the game. But I can use that card once to swap 2 cards. So now suddenly a goal that I couldn't do is over here, and a goal that I can do is over here, and I keep going up that pyramid. And it really makes for an interesting idea or interesting challenge, because every time I play this game, I've got a unique mix of these goals, which means not only is the variability of the game, the variability of my player powers, the variability of the upgrades that come out, the variability of the different spirits I'm distilling, not only is that variability driving sort of the focus of the game, but now I've got these goals pushing me. And they're pushing me to try a whole bunch of different things every time I play this game. And try not just different things, but different things connected to other different things. So even if I'm trying to complete the same goal in 3 or 4 different games, the other goals that are also connected in that game require me to think about the same goal in a different way. And I love the way this works. I love the flexibility in the goals that I'm trying. I love the wide variety of goals that pushes me to try different things. I love the idea that the goals that I choose set the point threshold that I need to achieve in order to win. Everything about this solo mode shines. And again, I tend to be somebody who likes an automated opponent, likes an AI opponent. Not a huge fan of beat your own score solo modes, but this goal-based solo mode with this sort of variability and selectivity works incredibly well. And I want to see more solo modes like this, because I am very impressed with how this plays solo. So then last, let's talk a little bit about the Africa and Middle East expansion. This is a very small expansion. I did get this expansion again as a review copy with the base game. So I don't know monetarily whether it's worth it or not worth it, but putting money aside for a minute, I'd say that if you can get access to this and you have the means to get it, I would definitely get it, because it doesn't make the game any more complicated. It adds more variability simply easily by adding an extra country, means adding a different set of spirits, means adding another set of the sort of master distillers from those new countries, means also adding in another bottle type that can add to the sort of bottle collection moving forward in the game. But then also it adds in more upgrades, which adds more changing. It adds more solo goal cards, which is always great to have. And then adds a couple of unique ingredients and things in the game as well. It adds the double sugars that you saw in my playthrough, which is great, that one card can get you 2 sugars, which also then adds 2 alcohols, which is another interesting twist on the push your luck, because if I have a spirit that requires 2 sugars, if I had 2 sugar cards and one of them came out, I still have 1 sugar left. So if I had 3 sugar cards and one of them came out, I still have 2 sugars left. But now that I've got this double card, if I had a double and a single and that one comes out, I only have 1 left. So it's nice because a single card can get me 2 sugars. But it's also dangerous because a single card pulled off the stack could remove 2 sugars. And that's an interesting dynamic to add into that push your luck sort of planning puzzle. There's also the wild card, the sort of mixed sugar, the sugar syrup basically, that can be any of the different sugar varieties. And that one's really cool because you can get it and then later sort of pivot and decide to distill something other than what you were planning to distill. Or if that's the sugar that gets pulled off the top of a stack and put back into your pantry, that means next time you can use it to make something completely different because it's a wild sugar. And that's really, really cool to have it in there as well. The neutral alcohol that you saw in the playthrough, also very interesting twist on the sort of yeast and water kind of puzzle. Again, there's not a whole lot of new additions. The small additions that are there, I really enjoy, and I'm glad to see those things being added. The additional variability on pretty much everything in the game, I would absolutely add in this expansion if you can. And realistically, you can pretty much start with this expansion already added in because it's, again, not making the game any more complicated by any means. And the little things that it does add, to me at least, are an improvement on the core mechanisms. Yay, technical difficulties. In any case, I'm very excited about this game. I can't wait to finally try out the cask strength expansion. And only just recently, they also just announced a big box new expansion called Distilled Cocktails that's supposed to be launching next year on crowdfunding. Very, very excited about that one as well. I hope that this video was helpful for you. As always, I do ask that if you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.